So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our video of Venus in the 12th house as your Atmakaraka, as in what happens when Venus becomes the Atmakaraka, as in the planet with the highest degree, closest to the 30-degree point. And if you don't know which planet is your Atmakaraka, you can just go to chaosastrology.com here under shop section, option 6. When you get the report, you will see which planet has the highest degree, which one is the Atmakaraka, Bhatrikaraka, Dharakaraka, all that information is in there. Along with my consultation and of course my academy where I've uploaded my Virgo course now, blank chart prediction with the age activation. Next is Libra. Hopefully today or tomorrow I'll film the videos and then Friday I'll release it. So Venus in the 12th house as the Atmakaraka. What can we say? This is a very unusual placement to define. You know why? Because Venus is undefinable in this particular position. Because on one end, it's like the individual soul has checked out. Okay? The individual soul is willing to kneel and bow to the supreme, to the ultimate. Okay? Like eventually this Atmakaraka Venus, if it's not afflicted by malefics, if it's not at a certain degree, okay? Because depending on the sign at a certain degree, yes, it can trap you. Meaning, like imagine an investment banker, somebody who's making a lot of money, but at the same time, they're trying to make the most money because they're empty inside. They don't know. They can't figure out why this joy is not coming. See, when you see celebrities on the red carpet smiling and dancing and joking, you don't know how much they're bounded by the chains that are beneath the ground. Why do you think so many celebrities have like drug issue, alcohol issue, addiction issue, going to jail for DUI? So don't look at those things. There's emptiness within. And the emptiness can only be fulfilled by surrender. When a person surrenders themselves to the Supreme. And this is the worst position for an atheist. Oh, this is going to play such mind screw up games with you. This is the worst position for an atheist. You can be an atheist, free world, but if there's no surrender to the Supreme, and this has to come from within, you have to go through certain things and you have to witness certain miracles or some things unusual out of the ordinary for you to really understand this part, to believe in that. And on the other hand, Atmakaraka Venus clearly shows me here that the person has already experienced the best marriage, the best partnership in past life. So this life, they're simply here to finish small little karmas off with people. Like you got your soulmate, you got your twin flame, but now certain people you may have promised, maybe some girlfriend, boyfriend you broke up with, just because you guys are ran out of love. Maybe you just come to deal with that. So it's a small little thing, because what happens here, post-marriage, your interest in the concept of marriage leaves. In unionship leaves. Why? Because you suddenly understand, and that's why marriage is actually important here. You see, it's a double-edged sword. It's a double knock door or knob door. That in order for you to understand the divine truly, you got to understand one thing. Marriage is not about love. Like somebody to love and somebody companionship. Marriage is much deeper of a process. Okay, especially if you understand the Vedic Hindu culture. Do you know it is actually even said, I don't know which book it is, it's some Puranic Tantric book, that marriage is very important In order for a person to go towards God and find enlightenment or even awaken their chakras, they need to go through the process of being a householder. Now you must be saying, well, there's these monks, this and that. Well, again, their thing is probably already paid off. Okay, and you don't know what suffering they're going through, how much harder. Just because somebody's a monk or a priest doesn't mean they're enlightened. Okay, maybe in this life they're yogis, but then once they go to the afterlife, they realize, oh well, the karma of marriage is unfinished. So again, it's a paradox, because on one end, this Venus has paid the karmas of the marriage, the best marriage. But again, if you want to move more towards, like actually really take on the pillars and principles to moving towards God, marriage is important, partnership is important, because marriage gives you responsibility. Marriage gives you duty, commitment, and shows you how to sacrifice. I didn't know what sacrifice was until I got married and had kids and have a family. It's amazing how, because that's the important part. Through marriage, it just naturally, the chemical reaction awakens inside you that it's no longer me. Me can no longer exist as long as this is safe. When you're single, you're more about, okay, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this for myself, that for myself. But there's more to it even than that, because somebody can be a very much a giver, even besides marriage. But there's something that is invoking. Okay? Why? You're looking for transformation, right? In your life. For moksha. Think about it. You're looking for transformation because you want moksha, enlightenment, chakra awakening. You're tired of this boring life, this redundant life, this rat race that you are running blindly in circles. Well, in order to get a transformation, what has to become active? Which is the house of the doorway to enlightenment? 12th house, right? Liberation. What is 8th from that liberation? 7th house. So if you want a transformation in your path to attaining that thing, marriage has that 7th house becomes active. It has to become active. Okay? And then what happens is this. Okay? What happens is this. Even one has to kill, because 7th house is 8th from the 12th house. One has to kill that idea of even enlightenment. Wanting moksha in order to get moksha. When you're married and yet you have divinity in you, this is where actually you truly understand the balancing act of God and balancing act of the Maya. That's the thing. Remember, even in enlightenment, you have to get rid of that thought of the enlightenment. You have to kill that thought. How does that happen? That happens through marriage. So on one end, this Venus makes a person very oblivion. Like Venus, whether it's women in your home, elder sister, or your spouse, one time that relationship dissolves. It's like, it's not a bad or good thing. No. Okay. It's more, and that more good or bad thing, it depends on not only Venus's sign placement, but all the other planets around Venus. What are they doing? Maybe you're being physically abused, mentally abused, psychologically abused, right? So that's why you check out. For that, we can't just say with this Venus. Okay? There is a book, though, that talks about each degree and what it does. But who's going to remember? I will not remember all the planets in all the signs in all the degrees. It's like this small book. I think I've shown it too before on YouTube. This is back in 2017, 18. I've shown that book. But yeah, if you learned all that, maybe you'll know, oh, your Venus is in Aries and exactly at 14th degree. And this is what's going to happen. You will get abused. You will do this. I'm not saying it's doing it. I'm just making it up. Just to give an example. Okay. But yes, you could be dealing with those abusiveness, which is why you lose that interest in relationship. But sometimes it dissolves. It is there to dissolve. Now, Venus in the 12th house can also bring in tremendous amount of luxury, wealth, money, like especially for a man. When Venus has the Atmakaraka, because remember, Atmakaraka is showing your soul purpose. What is that unfinished karma you have? 12th house is giving, donation, right? And also investments. Venus is spouse, including the wife. You have to give to your wife. You have to give to your spouse. This is why marriage does become important. This is why I said it's a paradox. We can both argue on this if you should be single or not all night long, and none of us will be winners in this. But I'm just trying to make things clear that there is this pending karma of doing things for your spouse, buying them luxury things, giving them things, because that's what you're going to get. You're going to get a spouse who's going to need something, want something, even if they don't ask. And you doing that, you're understanding the outer, you're looking at life from the outside layer. And it's very important to understand that in order to even get a hint of enlightenment and moksha. And you will see whenever this person spends money on their spouse, buys them luxury things, luxury goods, money comes in. Wealth comes in. So it's not all about like enlightenment and spirituality, but this is that point, that apex of Venus, which is saying that, hey, don't be so desperately looking for someone. And usually in certain signs, a person will not look for somebody so desperately with this unless Venus is with planets. Then Venus gets invoked. Like Venus, Mercury in the 12th will give absolute imaginative desire towards hopeless romanticism. One will watch a romantic movie and then think about that romance in their own life. I don't know, but I don't know if anybody's watching movies anymore. Unless you're watching some nostalgic movie, that's a different thing. Okay. Venus in the 12th house does revive past relationships. I don't know if you have seen my video of 8th from Venus. Venus revived things. Okay. And because Venus is in the 12th house, a person will feel incomplete without the spouse in marriage as well. Again, like I said, it's seesaw because Venus is on the ascendant. Its energy is also going into the ascendant. But one thing you have to understand with this Venus, you give, especially doing things for women, girls, wife, spouse. This is the main part of the reason why you're born. You're not here to make your startup into $1 billion thing that's not doing anything for the universe. You can be a trillionaire when you go outside in space and you look at Earth, it's exactly the same. How many trillionaires have come and gone by? Like if you look at some of these previous kings, if their wealth, if you equal that to today's inflation, it's literally beyond trillions. Beyond trillions, 20 trillion even. But Earth didn't change. So that's not your purpose. You're not accomplishing anything by creating $1 billion industry. That just so you can sustain yourself. And you can also live in that Maya because you grew up with all these fantasies because you saw private jets, you saw these big boats, you saw these fancy celebrities. And you're like, oh yeah, that comes through $1 billion. That's all it is. It's you're mind controlled. But if you're outside of control, that doesn't mean anything. So don't think like this, every planetary placement has to do with money and career and business. No, that's important, very important. But when we're looking at the deeper thing, the rabbit hole that most people don't want to look into, then these things don't matter. Okay. So anyway, guys, this was my analysis of Venus as the Atmakaraka in the 12th house. And remember, if you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And next time we'll see you with I guess Venus Ketu's left. All right. See you later. Bye-bye.